Hello, beautiful people. So today we're going to do a little different for Adspend. Everybody keeps asking me about the presentation on the data dump that we did, so we thought, why not? Let's just release the presentation. So we're going to be going over 3,000 plus Shopify stores, 35 countries, normalized to USD, $3 billion, actually over $3 billion in spend, and a little over 12 billion in GMV, gross merchant volume. So it's a really robust data set. We're going to get into the trends of the data, the split across channels, and really what's working, what's not working. And then the cherry on top, I have 5 little hot takes and my predictions for 2023. So I hope you enjoy the episode. If you do want to follow along with the presentation and you don't want to listen to it, you can just listen to it. It'll still land, but it's really more impactful if you can see the graphs. So you can just jump over to youtube.com/triplewell and the podcast will be there in all its visual glory. Thanks again for listening. Bye-bye.
So we've been doing this for with Rabah specifically and on the triple team for quite a while. And I asked him for 2 things. One, he's not a great speaker. English is his second language, third language. So he's going to do his best. But what he does is I always ask him, I was like, dude, you guys have a bunch of data. You have a bunch of information. Can you just give me just dump all the data? Give me benchmarks. People love benchmarks. Have a conversation about each industry. Show me what's going on. And so what he's going to come up here, he's got 10 to 15 minutes. He's going to show a handful of benchmarks you can take back to the boss. You can take back to whoever. You can convince somebody hey, you're doing it right, or hey, you're doing it significantly wrong. So we got 20 minutes with Rabah. Come share some data, brother.
Clicker style. All right. There he is. I got the Tony Robbins mic. I'm feeling fresh up here. First off, Shaq, thank you so much, but I thought you loved me and you stacked me behind Molly. Come on, bro. Like you said, we're going to go through some really cool data. I have some predictions. We're going to look across a bunch of industries, so let's just get into it. So just a little background on me. Like I said, my name's Rabah. I actually wanted to be an investment banker. I went to school at Indiana. I realized I didn't want to be an investment banker. Got really nerdy into websites, design, bunch of crazy stuff, and I really cut my teeth with this gal. She was a yogi. I'm old, so this was in the heyday of Instagram. You could have an Instagram influencer. We did yoga books together. I got into photography, and then I found, hey, you can put $1 into Facebook and get 6 out. This is pretty cool. So she really is really important to me because she launched my kind of cutting my teeth, getting out of the technical realm and into the marketing realm. I did a stint at Whole Foods, and so I got to do the whole hipster thing. I had the man bun, worked at Whole Foods, hippie corporate, really cool company, just wasn't for me. And then next I did agency life. Agency life can actually be really helpful for a lot of people. You can get some processes that you already have clients. So a lot of people shit on agencies, but I think there's one, are good agencies out there, and then 2, it can be really helpful, especially in the beginning of your career where you can start to not only be in the account, but a lot of times you need to understand how to create the narrative and what data to wrap that narrative in. And there's just a lot of people skills that I think you can't get when you're kind of on your own because there's just too many things flustering you. So yeah, this is me. The reason I kind of put this out here is because you might not be where you're at in your life, or you might be kind of striving for things. So just know that sharpen your sword every day. Do something to make yourself better every day. Really understand and manifest the vision for yourself. I swear the rest of this isn't hippy dippy. This is just my one little part of it. And then finally, understand gratitude's a really, really cool thing. And so being able to use gratitude in the moments where there's going to be really hard times really helped me out. And so like Shaq said, I was the CMO at Triple Well for a year and a half, and then I recently moved into my new role as Chief Evangelist. So super, super stoked about that. Okay, let's get into the meat and potatoes. All right, so what's the data set? What's Melba Toast packing here? Days of Confused reference? Nobody? You guys are killing me. Come on, it's the improv. Killing me. All right, so we're looking across 3,000 stores. We have 35 countries. Everything is normalized to USD, so we have about 6,000 stores on the shop, but we had to clean the data to make it perfect for you guys, so we ended up landing around 3,000 stores, 35 countries, around 3 billion spend, and 12 billion GMV, which is around 6% of Shopify. So not nothing, pretty decent data set. So just jumping in, this is last year, essentially, and you can see Black Friday, we tracked about 102 million for that Black Friday day. The only really cool thing I want you to see here is that the cocaine and champagne era is returning. Things are getting better. You can see that regression to the mean has not dropped down. It's actually increasing. And that's even bolstered more so by the year-over-year metrics. So for 28% year-over-year versus previous year in blended spend, that's driving 42% more revenue year-over-year. So things are recovering and recovering in a really, really healthy way. There was actually a guy from Apollo, it's a big hedge fund. I think he had a really good take on it where he said this is going to be a non-recession recession where people that are heavily invested in assets, which is AKA like nobody unless you're rich. And so those are going to be the people that are going to fill the asset bubble pop, but all the normal folks are still going to spend their money and buy all the cool products that you all are selling. So really, really good signs here. Very, very optimistic and bullish on this year and the upcoming years. Now, where are people spending? I mean, you see the stock. Once he got out of the metaverse, I mean, it just started screaming. So Facebook, the Menlo monster is still king. I mean, it's not even touching anybody. When you get into Snapchat, it's essentially a defunct platform now. TikTok has been something that is really interesting to me because before, when I gave the previous version of this talk, TikTok was screaming. TikTok was growing triple digits month over month. And you've really seen a kind of dampening in that growth, if not even it hitting negative. And for me, the thesis behind that is TikTok ads die really quickly. And so all things being equal, you want to make an ad, like kind of Charlie's thesis of like, you want to make an ad and be able to run it for years, or kind of what Molly was talking about. You really want to be able to find something that has longevity. And if you're investing in something that doesn't, AKA TikTok ads, where you can get these quick pops. So I'm not very bullish on TikTok, and I'll kind of nail that down in some of my predictions. The other thing here, and if you can't really see, so Facebook is obviously the big purple line. Google is the second line beneath that. TikTok is the baby blue, and then the turquoise under there, Snap pretty much just being the x-axis. But what I'm trying to get at too is if you look at Facebook, Facebook is not normalizing. So you can see Google kind of regressing back to that mean, to that baseline. Facebook is still going up, where now we're tracking 30 milli a day plus per week across Facebook. So very, very bullish on Facebook. Buy some of that stock. It's doing well. So CPMs. So not a huge CPM maxi. I know a lot of people like it. I think it's a necessary metric, but I don't think you should drive the boat on it. But what I do find interesting here is I think of Facebook and Google as different platforms, right? So Google is a great platform to capture intent, where Facebook is a really awesome platform to generate intent. And it's interesting because, especially as well as the way the auctions work with Clark Vickery Groves with the Facebook auction, puppies are going to be cheaper than putting puppy stuff on Google. So, but these are kind of the benchmarks there for the CPMs. If you are really into CPMs and things of that nature, we have benchmarks back in the Triple Whale app, so you can actually see where you're stacking up in terms of CPMs. But yeah, nothing really, really too crazy here. Health and beauty, usual suspects, but the pet supplies one kind of caught me off guard. All right. Now we're going to look at kind of the efficiency metric that I like to use called new customer ROAS, and then everybody knows MER. New customer ROAS is essentially new customer revenue divided by ad spend, and then MER is just going to be your effectiveness metric, which is your total revenues divided by ad spend. So you'll see most people are hovering around a 3 for new customer ROAS, and then you kind of get down there. You're also going to see here automotive looks incredible in both places, as well as electronics. What you guys got to remember here is new customer ROAS and MER are functions of spend. So one way to do it is make more money. Another way to increase the number is decrease the denominator and spend less money. So you always want to use, I always think of media buying as solving a murder investigation. You never want to use one witness. You want to have 4 to 6 witnesses, and you synthesize everything that they're saying into a story to then understand and triangulate what's actually driving incremental lift. But this is what goes across everything. Again, health and beauty still screaming. Fashion accessories, not a bad business as well. Now we're going to look across spend. Again, Facebook, absolutely crushing it. The majority of health and beauty is in Facebook. Clothing, absolutely massive. I was really surprised to see fashion accessories here. I did not realize it was that big of an industry. I mean, to be fair, this is our cohort, but it's still a pretty big cohort of stores. But you can see everything kind of trickling down here. Again, clothing and health and beauty are really just so well situated for growth off of the back of paid media. And then this is also really interesting to me. So this is, I guess, the one bull case you can make for TikTok. If you look at health and beauty, it's actually penetrating TikTok fairly heavily. And so maybe UGC is not dead, Shaq, but the TikTok is actually TikToking for health and beauty, not bad. Health and beauty, or excuse me, clothing, again, not bad. Again, I was shocked about the intensity of acquisition in fashion accessories. That was something that really caught me off guard. Home and garden also pretty high up there. And then food and bevy, we'll be including Brez in the next download here. Breeze. So yeah, but yeah, the TikTok stuff, really interesting for me for health and beauty, and you kind of see that as well. And so this is just going to be your marketing efficiency ratio plotted over your total spend by industry. Who drives with Myrrh? Does anybody use Myrrh to deploy their capital? You do? Okay, cool. Do you use any other metrics besides Myrrh? New customer, so new customer ROAS or like AMR or something like that? Amazing. Yeah, so that's great. So this is, again, it's just going to be a function. And all things being equal, everything should always go back to the goal of the business, right? Like if you're running an automotive store and you don't want to be a billionaire and you just want to, take home a bunch of money, there's nothing wrong with spending that amount of money and being really effective with it. But if you want to scale up to a Viore style or a True Classics tees, you're going to want to spend a lot of money and stay in that really strong efficiency band. But anywhere from 5 to 7, or 3 to 6 is going to be really, really healthy. And this is kind of just the AOVs, right? So average order value, you essentially have two businesses. You have AOV businesses, which is first touch, right? If you're selling indestructible wallets, you need to make all your money on that first touch, whereas if you're selling a consumable or health and beauty as makeup or something like that that has a much shorter or a truncated sales cycle, you're going to have this. So this is kind of where everything is sitting across all the industries.
Rabah, right here, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Go ahead.
Where
are you calling from?
Has it changed? Do we have data, or is it possible to get the data of like month over month, quarter over quarter, AOV needing to increase? Because now everyone's, inflation and now shipments, and do people have money? This is a constant chatter.
Great question. Yes, AOV is actually on the rise. The challenge is nailing it down. Basically, the only big discernible trend is as you hit like the Black Friday, Cyber Monday, your AOV skyrockets, and then it kind of comes back and normalizes. It's almost like a one peak, or essentially like a bell curve for people that know what that is, where there's one inflection point. The peak is at Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and then it comes down to that other inflection point. So the deltas will actually be in the benchmarks, but they weren't. It's not crazy, but there's definitely a push here in AOV because AOV is going to be, or total revenue is going to be a function of AOV, and we saw total revenue go up 48% year to date, year over year.
Sure.
So things are doing really, really well. But in terms of the deltas, I can give those post hoc to people, or if they have triple, you can pop in there. That's a really, really good question.
Okay. Yeah, I've just been so curious, especially like this, like Q1 into Q2, and then obviously into Q4 is
100%. And again, that's what's so really encouraging about what we're seeing in the data is not only are things recovering, the baseline is higher than it was in 2022. So as things regress back to that mean's actually higher, which is really, really encouraging for, everybody in this room or anybody that's making money from D2C. Question, who's here over 132 for AOVs at their store? All right, the money makers. Who's 50 and under? How do you make it work? Volume? Make it up in volume, or?
He said Amazon.
Amazon. Oh, that's okay. That'll roll into my other prediction. Anybody else in the team low AOV?
Well, I can answer. We don't make it work. It's just hard, bro. It's just,
hence the microdose. Makes you feel better at least.
Like, what did I just spend?
Any other team low AOVs?
Here,
how do you make it work? Volume, strictly on store or Amazon? Both. Okay. Yeah,
what
that's
industry?
Great. Any wholesale? Starting to. Okay.
What's his industry, Rabah?
Pardon? What's your industry, sir?
Products.
That's a great.
So are you benchmarked against the 73 over here?
Let's see where you at.
Bottom.
Oh yeah, 73. Is that about right? Lower? How much of your business comes from subscription? 0, and you're still making it work. This is all new acquisition. Wow, that's really impressive.
What is your offer? What are you selling? Pet hair.
Pet hair. That's brilliant.
It's actually beautiful bottles.
That's brilliant. Amazing. Oh, that's awesome. We got some hair in the building too as well for us, for human hair, but hey, hair is hair.
I don't think it works like that.
Did you know, here's a fun fact actually. You can take I had friend told
You take
digression
dog
here.
hair and do what?
You can take like pet medicine. Like antibiotics are essentially the same thing for pets as people. I had some.
You know, I did learn that through.
Yeah,
the
I had
chemo
some
stuff.
prepper friends. Anyways, back to the AOV. Don't take the dog antibiotics. Buy some hair stuff, and we're moving, people.
Go.
And we're moving.
We put him in a comedy show. He's like, oh my god, here we go.
It is the improv, right? You got to sneak something in here. But yeah, so that's really cool to see. Usually we see some breakage with lower AOV products, and you need to bolt on some semblance of subscription, or as Charlie's saying, building in some really big repeat purchases, because that new customer acquisition starts to catch up to you, especially as you scale, because ultimately what happens is there's a fancy term in economics called diminishing returns, and you're going to get the best customers first. And so not only are you going to get worse customers, they're going to be more expensive, so you get two big headwinds there. All right, cool. So moving on to what we're seeing win right now. So like I said, we're sitting across about 5,000 plus stores, and these are kind of the biggest commonalities. So this is kind of like a more reminded rather than informed, but people that have like the funny money economics right now are really getting wrecked. Like it's really challenging if you have no margin to work with, you're constantly discounting. So we're seeing people that actually have the robust economics and the foundational numbers in place, that those are the people that are best situated to win, where before you could see, maybe 3 to 5 years ago, you could really build a business off some really fuzzy economics. Those times are not here anymore. You really need to make sure that your P&L is intact. The second thing, again, not necessarily mind-boggling stuff, but going back to, like I said, I was old. 3 to 5 years ago, you could have fidget spinners or something that was not exactly this incredible product.
Relax,
you could
relax.
Actually,
You can still have
that was
fidget spinners,
that was
guy.
not a shot.
You can still have fidget spinners. They're
You can
just
still
not that
have
great.
fidget spinners. You're just going to pay. You know, I can sell $20 bills for $10 all day, and eventually it catches up with you. The kind of third thing is cultivating owned media and distribution. You're kind of already seeing this right now, right? Where people are really leaning into newsletters, into content, into in real life events. And so understanding, like, I mean, even email is a quasi-owned distribution medium where you're still giving Klaviyo or whoever money, but you're not beholden to the CPMs, you're not beholden to the auction, you're not beholden to all this stuff. So cultivating owned media distribution is really, really key. Sorry about the spacing there,
Nice,
but
dude, nice.
well, you know, it's a community, so just want to be next to the other bullet item. Keep it clean. Vibrant brand community. So Avi's doing this. There's some really, really awesome people doing really, really good work in the community. And one of the things I will say, if you are trying to start an awesome community, there's two things that needs to be rooted in: sincerity and value. It cannot be a sales pitch. You can't use your community as a sales pitch. You can use it for product research. You can use it for all these other things. But if you're going to throw a party, don't sell at the party. Have great music, have good drinks, cultivate a vibe, but don't sell in there. But vibrant communities is something, and it's almost a bit of a corollary to what we were talking about with the cultivated and owned media. Minimal reliance on paid. People that don't have to buy revenue are doing really well. And so one way that we think about paid media at Triple Whale is it's an augmentation, right? It's a fuel for your fire. And a lot of people want to jump in with paid media right off the bat because it's just easy, right? I give people money, people see my ads, they buy. Not necessarily the worst thing in the world, but if your business is predicated off of buying revenue, right now it's going to be a really big challenge to, you can make it work-esque, but like to get to actual meaningful scale, you start to get in a lot of headwinds with that. So those are kind of the big things that we're seeing across what people are doing that are still growing and growing like gangbusters across the store. And then last thing is, again, kind of a little bit of the same but different, a mix of acquisition channels. So people that are doing direct mail, email, again, communities, newsletters, things of that nature where you're not buying revenue per se, you're just creating value and then monetizing that on the back end. All right, prediction times. These are my little hot takes for 2023, 2024. Content to commerce play. Molly was talking about this, and I think she's absolutely spot on with this. People that are going to go heavy into content, and then monetize on the back end with commerce. I think that's going to be a huge theme. I don't know if Sean Frank's here yet, but Ridge is actually ahead of the game. They bought Everyday Carry, 2 or 3 years ago, I think. For people that don't know, Ridge sells wallets. They expanded into rings, et cetera, et cetera. Everyday Carry was kind of like a, how would you describe it? It's like a dude site for people looking what are you carrying every day? Like,
I mean, the EDC
knives,
community of carrying, it's like
huge. Yeah, exactly. Knives, all these things. So I think this is going to be huge, huge, huge. And I think people that get this right are going to do numbers. A friend of mine, I don't know anybody if you guys know Bruce Bolt, but they make these really cool, fancy batting gloves. And they're absolutely doing numbers. And off the back of, they found a guy that's on TikTok that's just, a little cringy, but he's kind of funny. And he's just like, hit dingers and lift weights, basically, like homers and lift weights. And top distribution channel for them. I mean, and this is a company that's going to do 30 to 50 million a year. So this isn't like,
dude, that's a
nothing.
home run, bro.
Yeah, Bruce Bolt. It's pretty interesting. So content to commerce plays, I think it's going to be really interesting. So if you don't have one of these in play, I think it's really, really beneficial to understand if there is a play for you there. The second thing is paid communities and brand memberships. So we are a subscription service. One of the things that I was trying to do in my tenure at Triple and in the marketing leadership role was shift the thesis or the framing from a subscription to a membership. Now, that might sound like semantics to a lot of people, but ultimately, the too long didn't read is when you subscribe to something, it's a transactional relationship. It's just this cold, I give you money, you give me the thing, and that's it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I pay AT&T a bunch of money, and I absolutely hate them every month. You can build amazing businesses with that. Don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to say, when you can have a membership, it becomes like a dues. So Sealy is a fancy cycling gear essentially, and they actually have a membership where when you get the membership, you get all these perks, and one of the perks is when you travel around in their bike shops, you can borrow the bikes for free and drive around. You get access to these free amazing road bikes. Not only that, you get access to this merch that is absolutely exclusive just for the membership. And so it's one of those, if you know, you know. And so you see Charlie in this bright pink cycling shirt but you know he's a real one because you're like, oh, the only way you can get that is if you're a member of X, Y, and Z. So, I mean, Soho House is also another one that you can think of as memberships and stuff like that. So I think the more brands lean into memberships, you get into some really interesting plays. Like, I don't know if Jay Pan's here yet, but Hexclad, like you could have a membership there where you have cooking channels. You have all these things that you can build around your brand that aren't necessarily revenue generating, but they create value. And then your job as the marketing leader is to understand the best way and the most efficient way to extract that value that you're actually putting into the system. All right. I think brands are going more in real life. I mean, everybody here is already in real life. The one challenge here that you're going to see is this is probably going to be either at a smaller scale or brands that have the money because the joke, what I was talking when I was doing Triple Whale stuff is I get to hang out with the coolest people, D2C, but I also have daddy money because I have SaaS economics. D2C does not have daddy money, and so in real lives are very, very expensive. And so there is one that is a little bit of a headwind there, but I think the more and more, or you can run kind of ambassador programs where you put $1,000 tab or $500 tab at the bar and say, hey, go have fun, let's go make some ads with Foreplay. I think TikTok turns into Snap. This is probably my hottest take, but I just don't see how it starts to turn the corner. I just don't. I think Facebook and Google, again, another Sean Frankism, I don't know if he's here or not, but I think most brands need 2 channels max until you start to get into 100, 200 million. Like there's no point in putting complexity in the system. There's just, focus is huge. And the most, opportunity cost and focus are hand in hand. And I don't know, are people still bullish on TikTok? Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the vibe, right? Like, I don't.
Use it to get good creative.
Wow. What is it?
That's a lot of people. That was a unanimous no.
No, right? I haven't seen. And this, when I did this, San Diego. The last one, yeah.
San Diego.
No.
He didn't ask this question. This was the San Diego one.
Everybody was bullish on it. I mean, it's crazy how quick the script flipped. Where it's like, so I'm very, very bearish on TikTok. I don't think it works for D2C. This is also something that I don't know. Is anybody playing with Facebook Shops?
Wait until David Herman gets here. This is
I know. That was one of the...
Literally.
Put it in whale mail.
It's all I want to talk about.
Very interesting.
This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so for people that don't know, Facebook and Instagram have their own native checkout. You can build your own shops. But now they're starting to really strong arm people into the shops. They're diverting traffic, especially in Advantage Plus. So when you give them the keys to the kingdom, they're saying, hey, we know better. And some preliminary data from some of the hitters in the industry has been the conversion rate's just not the same. There's also a lot of really good feedback in terms of because you're running it through their system, you don't get the chargeback protection that you do for Stripe or what have you. There's just some really weird nuances there. But nonetheless, I don't think people are good or bad. I think people just do what they're incentivized to do. And Facebook has a massive incentive or Meta, has a massive incentive to get everybody to exclusively use Facebook IG shops. I will caveat this and say I think it might be like the CBO debacle where they're like, hey, every month has to use CBO and that's that. And then like, what happened was you guys can use ABO. Everything is fine. Like nobody's mad. So I think that might be the vibe there. But I do think that Facebook IG shops, there's a huge incentive for Meta to make this work and incentivize people to do that. And then just a few little things here to wrap up, kind of scaling with the whale. These are just some of the cool metrics that I like to drive with. So you have your standard blended ROAS, MER, whatever you want to call it. You have the percentage representation of MER if you prefer that. New customer ROAS, so again, understanding how efficient is my marketing in terms of bringing incremental dollars into the ecosystem. Your AMER is just essentially the percent representation. New customer ROAS. POAS is something that I've been near and dear to my heart, and it's finally, I think, catching on with a lot of people because it is a profitability metric, and you really need to care about that, especially in these days. The other cool thing, so for people that don't know, POAS is just gross profit divided by total ad spend, so you can know for every ad dollar I'm driving how many dollars in gross profit. The other thing is you can get kind of crazy as well with POAS if you are really deeply ingrained in the partnership or the brand or what have you. You can even use the numerator as net profit, and then you can actually understand, hey, I'm driving for every ad dollar, I'm driving $3 or $1.50 in net profit. So pretty awesome. Average contribution margin per order, something I've been really liking. Average contribution margin per new customer is also amazing. Blended CPA, and then new customer CPA. And then Charlie has a cool one. I'm not a big LTV guy, but he has a cool profit scaling metric that's pretty rooted in a lot of really awesome theses. What else we got? Does anybody drive with anything else that I haven't talked about? I'm always into new metrics.
I don't use new customer CPA.
Well, for the thing with the new customer CPA, I'm glad you brought that up. New customer CPA, I believe, is a really good metric if you can, and again, I'm kind of speaking out both sides of my mouth, if you can have confidence and high predictability in your LTVs, new customer CPA is actually a really good metric to buy from because you know, hey, if I'm getting somebody in at X, and I know in 60 to 90 days, there's a 90% probability they're gonna give me Y, that can get you away from the, I can get you 10x ROAS. Like, why? I don't want 10x ROAS. I want more money. And it's
That's what we use on this funnel kind of showing like that 3+ shipping book or
beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. Of course. So repeat purchase rate or second purchase rate? Okay. Yes. Yes. So we do have sales cycle and we do have by SKU, but second, it's like 90% there. We can get it for you. The sales cycle is there though. So in the sales cycle, you can see what your sales cycle is from 1 purchase, 2 purchase, 3 purchase, 4. And what the days are in between that, which is really great for either retargeting or understanding when to send out your email cadences, et cetera. And you can actually do it by SKU as well. But what was the other ask? Yeah. Quantity and yeah. Love that. LTV is an average, dude, and like I get really reticent when I drive by an average, and then you can also get into some really, look at every single D2C darling, right? Allbirds, Warby, like, oh, if I get somebody in for 100, but look, this person gave me $1,000, and look at them now, like nobody wants to touch their stock, like it's just an atrocious business, and so when you can nail down your LTVs, you can be very sophisticated, kind of what Charlie's talking about, what Molly's talking about, where it's like I have a high confidence that this is going to net out, but no other metrics though, huh? Look at that. It's totally covered. Amazing.
I have one quick one to add. We call it
yeah.
like it's Molly again.
Hey, Molly.
Customer value velocity. I'm not the nerd that calculates this. I love my business partner, John's amazing.
Yeah.
But it basically was like lifetime value. Well, you haven't lived your lifetime, so that's just crap.
Yes.
I mean, it really is. So this is, and maybe you have this and I just don't understand it, but it's basically what someone's worth each day. So it's like, this is how, like with brands like Array, we know, okay, on day 43, here's where we're going to be. I don't know if you can get that granular,
Yes,
but
not to the day, but
and like how quickly do you add value to your customers? So it's kind of like lifetime value, but in the first 6 months.
So one of the things with my position has been really interesting to see is the convergence of D2C tactics and SaaS tactics, where they're kind of like this confluence
So
now.
when we got it from membership models, which is interesting, so that makes total sense. Yeah.
Yes, and so you're seeing this confluence of SaaS is stealing from D2C and D2C is stealing from SaaS. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So we don't do the granularity of the day. We could probably map it out, but it's more so on 60. Like I'm actually a big believer 60-day, 90-day. Perfect. 60-day, 90-day LTVs. Yeah, it's really awesome though. PSM strong. Nothing else? Amazing. Chomps? Nothing? How many meat sticks are consumed in a day or something? No? Nothing? All right. And this is just some new, obviously. So that looks a little busy. You can take those lines away, but we just dropped this in the Whale app. I'm actually really excited. This has been something that I've been asking AJ for a really, really long time. And so now we're giving you a chronology, or you can think of it almost like a change log of your ecosystem. And you can actually backdate it as well. So for agencies, for brands, you change the website, you launch a campaign, you have an in real life event, you get mentioned on the Limited Supply Shop podcast, and then you can plot that on your graph here as little annotations, and then those annotations you can see what's happening. One of the really cool things, I don't know if it was Charlie or somebody was talking about, the way they're using this is to understand if Facebook's actually driving incremental revenue. So they're plotting Facebook ad spend across new customer ROAS, and is there a correlation? Because if there's not, yeah, exactly. And so if too long didn't read, do the lines go the same way? Like that's what you're looking for, and if they do, then you're actually doing really well with your prospecting. If they don't, and you're trying to do well with your prospecting, you got a problem. And so this is something I'm really, really bullish on. If you have Triple Whale, it's already in your account now. And the other cool thing is it's pulling in 10 integrations, 80 plus metrics. So any integration you have, it's actually passively pulling in all the changes, so you don't have to do anything. And then if you have custom events, you can add it. So that is that. And then just an appreciation. This is like changed my life. I know it sounds cheesy, but we first met in LA. And I was a little nobody. Triple Whale was just starting out, being super scrappy, and you and Nick Sharma were just two of the kindest people to me that kind of just took me under your wing and really mentored me. And like to give you guys the evolution of the relationship, Thursday night I stayed at his house. Beautiful house, by the way. And the wifey, or soon-to-be wifey, fantastic. But anyways, I just kind of going back to being bullish about in real life stuff. I think that it's magic. And so being able to help people get around other people and learn. I mean, I think Patrick Frank I met, Lydia, June, Charlie, Murray, like all these amazing connections. So anyways, I said no more hippy dippy and I went hippy dippy. Sorry, 2 times, but it's California. What can I say? And that's it. That's all I got.
Thanks, Rabah. Thank you. Thank you for all that you do.
These are the off-white blazers for people that don't know. Let's go. The kids know. Hey, Lester knows.